Welcome to the Streets Won't Forget podcast. We're back after a very exciting weekend in the Premier League. I'm Dodzi, your host, and today I'm joined again with the magical trio, MSN of podcasts, Keelan and Louie. And yet, we're here to get into, obviously, the first place to start with this weekend has to be the title race. None other than the Arsenal-Liverpool game that happened yesterday. People calling it the game of the season. Mike Richard said it's the best game he'd ever seen. As an Arsenal fan, I was gutted, to be fair, man. I thought we were actually going to go there and take the 3 points. I was very confident before the game because I just thought we're so much better than Liverpool this season. We're 30 points clear. I know it's Anfield, but something has to give finally. But we couldn't quite do it. 2-0 up and then came back to 2-2. So much happened. But yeah, I'll come to Keelan, the other Arsenal fan in the room first. Keelan, do you think that this game here for Arsenal was a point gained or 2 points dropped?
I think 2 points dropped. Especially going 2-0 up. I just think they just need a bit more composure from that position, and I think compared to like all the other games like that, whenever it's really come to it being like quite a big test for us, we have lost sort of every one of those games this season, in which if we continue to do so against Man City and Newcastle, it's a bit long. But I just think, from 2-0 up, any most serious side like Man City's not bottling a 2-0 lead, and it's just a shame. But I didn't actually catch the second half. Like, obviously, I get Liverpool's record at Anfield is insane, but like 30 points clear, 2-0 up at one point, it's just disappointing.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting you said there that Arsenal haven't quite passed all the tests this season. So are you mainly referring to the Old Trafford game, obviously the Man City games, the Liverpool away game? What specific, would you not count a Chelsea away or a Spurs away as quite a test? No.
Not a Chelsea away, a Spurs away. I guess is a test, but it's just like in terms of sort of significance in the sort of title rate. Like, I wouldn't say Spurs have like an amazing home record. Like, they do get good results every now and then, but they're not really much better at home than they are away. I don't think Tottenham Stadium and their home presence is that much to overcome. But obviously we hadn't won there in years, so I guess that was one, but it's just probably easier to focus on the other three.
Yeah, 100%, because it's more in the moment. Louis, as the more neutral fan here, supporter of neither team, probably take more of a preference, I guess, maybe to Arsenal as opposed to Liverpool.
Of course.
What do you think it is in terms of Anfield that teams, even though Liverpool this season have been dreadful, they've still, in the big games, been able to show up, apart from obviously the Real Madrid game, if we're not counting Premier League games as well. So first of all, that, and second of all, like, what do you see? Do you see that as a point gained or 2 points dropped for Arsenal?
I don't want to sit on the fence, but for me, it's neither, because there's a lot of context you have to apply to the situation. The context you apply without looking at it too deeply is obviously you've gone away to one of the toughest grounds in Europe. You've got a point in a title race. In any other season, you look back at it and say that's a great point. It's the same as if you go to Old Trafford, that's a good point. The same as if you go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, that's a good point. However, at this stage of the season, when you've got City breathing down your neck and you've now made it so it's in their hands. Yes, it's still in your hands, but it's still in their hands. And I don't think... I was always of the belief that Arsenal win the title until City it's back in City's hands, and it's back in City's hands now. I can see them going on and winning every game from now to the end of the season. I can't see Arsenal doing that. And even if you do, I don't know. I don't think you will personally. If you do, you win the league, but I don't think you do. And I guess that's what Arteta will be saying to the players. If we win every game from now to the end of the season, that's the title done. But if you apply the context, take away the whole fact of you going to a big ground and a big team and it's away, if you apply the context of being 2-0 up, and for me, it wasn't even just throwing away a 2-goal lead, it was the matter of how you done it. For me, Liverpool could have won that game. Liverpool could have scored 4, maybe even 5 goals in that game. Salah had a one-on-one chance, and I was thinking in my head, if that's at Old Trafford, he bangs that.
Robertson as well.
The penalty, the Konate one at the end, and I mean, also as well the sequence that happened after, at the end of the game where Martinelli misplaced that pass to Saka. I think that's quite fortunate that you guys didn't go and score, because I think you score and it gets pulled back for a penalty to Liverpool.
Oh yeah, because of the pullback on.
Because of the
Yeah,
pullback
I
on Salah.
don't know. I mean, that was definitely more.
Yeah.
What might be more a penalty than the holding
Yeah.
penalty. Although the holding, that was a penalty. To be fair, I think
It was a soft one though. It was very soft.
It was soft, but
Yeah.
you got to be smarter there. Like
You do, I agree, and I think if that's Saliba, I don't think. I mean, he's a bit of a bozo sometimes as well, but I just think, to be honest, maybe Holding being in the team psychologically for you, maybe that dawned on you a little bit. Maybe that was part of the reason why you guys ended up sitting so deep, because with a defender like Saliba, you can afford to play 10 yards further forward than with a player like Holding. And I think psychologically, the rest of the back four has thought, well, he's better at defending his box than he is at defending space. So maybe if we drop into the box a bit more, he's going to be better at defending the box. But with a team like Liverpool, I know it's not vintage Liverpool of the past 2-4 years, but you can't give the players they have opportunities to put balls in the box. You can't give players like Robertson, players like Trent, space to put balls in. You can't give players like Salah opportunities in the box. Even Gakpo has shown he can finish. You can't give these guys opportunities in and around the box. It's just not smart. Any team in this division, you can't afford to do that on. But I think, I think the occasion got to you, the emotion of the occasion, but I also think psychologically as well, because it's the exact same as Liverpool and United. Their home records are pretty much identical. United have been slightly better away, but it's the same. United aren't very good away. Liverpool aren't very good away, but both of them have. United have lost 2 games at home in the league all season. One of them was obviously to Brighton very first game. So
that's only one.
Yeah. So if you take away the teething period, I guess, which that's not, it's 2, but it's 1 from the United that we've come to know this year. And Liverpool's is the exact same. I think when teams go there, it's more psychological than it is anything else.
I 100% agree. Because how can you see for the first half an hour, Liverpool was so not in the game. Like, it was so apparent Arsenal were better. And it just, it was from that Xhaka moment. I don't want to fix it too much, but from the Xhaka altercation with Trent, they score a minute later, and we hardly have a sniff in terms of control of the game for the rest of the game. I thought at half time, like, the guys would have regrouped and just settled it down in the second half. I don't know what happened in terms of the subs, in terms of him bringing on Kiwior.
Weird subs.
I thought that was crazy, man. Like,
I think the subs that should have happened at that point were Tierney and Smith Rowe. I think them two should have been the one who came on. Because Smith Rowe's great in transition. He'll always make the right pass, and Tierney is great also in transition, but also he's a much better defender than Zinchenko. Chucking Kiwior in there was really, really weird. I'm not quite sure. I've been seeing people on Twitter say, like, I can understand why he did it. I'm sorry, if you're saying you can understand why he did it, you think too much. Like, no one knows why he did that. Stop trying to make out like you're Pep Guardiola. Like, no.
Yeah, I just don't agree with. I was saying to you yesterday, actually, Keelan. I don't agree, especially in the modern game, this idea of just bringing on an extra defender against a team like Liverpool. You're just inviting more pressure. The second goal we conceded was from a cross. We have 3 centre-backs in the box there. It doesn't make a difference. I don't know. I've seen teams do it. I saw Ten Hag the other week against Newcastle. Similar sort of sub. He brought on Lindelof. I just don't get it. I think, yes, if you're losing control of the game, it makes a bit more sense, surely, to bring on a Jorginho. Not that I would have done it. What I would have probably done is, it's weird. Sometimes I don't think you can necessarily, making a change is all good and all, but like, it doesn't, if it changes the shape and how you're going to play, especially with a team like Arsenal, who are we've only really, I've said it all season, we're quite specific in how we play. We can only play one way, and it works a lot of the time. But if you change to a 5, like, none of us are attacking for it completely, because Jesus was carrying up top. Like, he was the only one really making it stick.
Yeah.
And then defensively, it's just inviting more and more pressure. And look at the double saves Ramsdale had to do.
I agree. Do you know what it is? I think if you have like an experienced defender on the bench who's played 300 games, and he's going to come on and he's not going to make a mistake and cost you a game, I can understand the thinking more. But bringing on someone who's relatively unknown, especially in these types of games, is just such a huge risk. If you had, like, for instance, there's been times in the season where United have been defending 1 or 2 goals and Ten Hag's brought Maguire on, you would trust Maguire to come on and do the job he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because he's played that many games, he's experienced, he's been there, he's done that. He's been on the end of shit situations and good ones. He knows how to manage these game situations. With Kivior, the first thing he did when he came on was try and contest a 50-50 and end up losing out. Like, an experienced defender doesn't even engage in that 50-50.
Yeah, horrible. I don't know what that challenge was. I don't think he had a touch really in the game. It was such strange stuff. But I want to actually go back on Holding quickly, because I saw a good video on Senez's. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Senez's, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm watching the game, I'm thinking something's not quite right about Holding. Yeah, in the when the ball comes in the box, he's dealing with it, and defensively he's fine, but something's not right in terms of just how he's taking care of the ball, man. It wasn't like he wasn't giving the ball away loads, but what he was doing, which he summed it up well, when the first ball come, right, Saliba, because he's a quality defender, he'll turn, pass it back to Ramsey. He'll find the man. Holding's thing was so panicky. It was literally just clear it. And the problem with that, when the player just does that, is the clearances aren't usually quality clearances. It's literally just straight back in their hands. That's just going to keep coming at you for the rest of the game. And psychologically, that told Liverpool, we've actually got a chance here. They're not as comfortable on the ball at the back as we think. And that just built ultimately over time, and that happened, and the door creaked, and
Yeah, it's funny you said that about Holding, actually, because I was thinking that during the game there was one situation where I think Konate just basically chucked the ball over the top of him, and it bounced, like he was coming over, and it sort of bounced, and he got on the end of it, and he took a look over his shoulder, and he seen Salah there, and rather than, like what you were saying, Saliba would have the calmness to just bring it down and play it back to Ramsdale, he's literally just passed it out with his left foot, not even tried to turn on it. And that, for a player like Salah, he's going to be thinking, right, next time I'm getting to that, and I'm going to spin him. He's not confident, he doesn't want it. And then that encourages more balls over the top. Whereas if a defender puts out the fire in the first incidence, they're going to stop playing the ball over the top.
Yeah, exactly. And, psychologically, it drains the opposition, because they're like, oh, wow, he's actually, he's comfortable. We can get out of these situations. I'm going to stand off him a bit. And they stand off and gives us more time to play. But, you could. I'm sure Arteta's doing, all his nicest with the team right now. But there's so much to get into that game. But in terms of that overall outlook of the title race now, Louie, you said you don't see Man City drawing, you don't see him losing another game. Keelan, would you agree with that?
Carry on. Go ahead, Keelan.
I'm not sure if I see him losing another game, to be honest.
You don't think a Brentford or a Brighton?
Maybe a Brighton. I don't think Brentford as much so. Unless, I think we could possibly, with the right tactics, get a draw against them. But I just feel like in the sort of home leg, we just obviously we just went in with the exact same sort of style we normally have, and I feel like we've never really been clinical with our sort of method of play, and we just don't get as many chances. We didn't get as many chances against City, and we kind of City just sort of caught us. I think it was a bit of like a sort of snatch and grab from City. Obviously, I don't think we deserved to win, but they were just a lot more clinical than we were. So I think if we I'd be happy to sort of just go into the next leg, sort of go in for a draw and just see what tactics sort of come with that. Because I just think if we try take it to City, I think it'll just be the same again and we'll lose.
I can see that as well, to be honest. Because FA Cup game as well, we took it to them. It was just a case of not being clinical, and you do have to remember as well that the team was a bit changed that day. We didn't have Partey, we didn't have Ben White playing, but that Ben White was on the bench. So obviously, when that game comes, we'll talk about it more. But Lou, were you going to make a point?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I look at City now, and since the Nottingham Forest game that they drew after they beat you guys. Since that game, they've been faultless. Pep's now found a system, and he talks about it a lot in terms of having the. This is why Kyle Walker hasn't been playing. He talks a lot about agility. So he's been playing John Stones in that kind of like. He's not a right back. He's not a 6, and he's not a centre back. He like kind of floats between the 3. It's really weird. And then he'll have like a Kanji, Ruben Diaz, who since he's come in the team again has been sensational. They've really missed him when he was out, and then Ake as well, who again has been absolutely phenomenal. They have them 3 sort of in a box with Rodri and Stones in front of them, and what Rodri and Stones can do is they are now basically doing WWE on transitions. They are cutting out everything, making these nasty tackles that you need to make, and then they're good enough on the ball, but they're also intelligent enough where it's like, okay, we'll get the ball out to Grealish, we'll get the ball out to Mahrez, we'll get the ball to KDB or to Gundogan or to Bernardo Silva, these guys who can be magic in the final third, and then they can find Haaland. We don't need to find Haaland. We can let them guys do it. So what they've done is they've made this box 5 of players who sort of defend, and then another box 5 of players who attack. And it's just so mesmerising to watch recently because they basically have no natural fullbacks. And it's weird because it really suits Grealish, Mahrez, and KDB having no fullbacks. And, Grealish, since Cancelo's gone, he's now been able to sort of operate in those areas that Cancelo was operating in. And he looks like the player that we know. So, Pep, his genius has amazed me once again. I never thought I would see him lining up with 4 centre-backs. And still managing to win by like 4 or 5 goals. But it just goes to show that he will put having control of a game over having his best players all the time on the pitch. And he's willing to sacrifice everything you know him for. And do you know what? It's credit to Arsenal as well, because I think they've awoken a beast in Pep now.
Yeah, definitely. Because start of this year, we saw the lineups from City and no one was getting it. He was trying a lot of things. He was trying Bernardo, left back. And then, he obviously saw Cancelo and he's doing the 4 centre-backs thing. And people are like, why is he not playing Walker? Why is he not playing, why is Ake at left back? And now you see it. They've got total control over it. You've also got to credit some of the business they did in the summer. Well, in particular, one signing in particular, Akanji. I didn't expect Akanji to be City's main centre back at this point. I thought he was going to come in and just be kind of like how Calvin Phillips has been. But it's all making a lot of sense now. And that game against Southampton, I know it's Southampton, but St Mary's, hey, we went there and drew, So and they went there 4-1. Absolute control of the game.
Fighting for their lives as well, man. They're these games at this type of the season that are very easy to lose if you're not 100%.
Yeah, definitely, man. So it's scary now. Let's see. So seven goals against Leipzig, 6 goals against Burnley. Now 4, I think, in back-to-back games. I think they got 4 in the last Prem game as well. So it's long. They're gonna win. I'm hoping Chelsea can do something. I'm hoping. Nah, you never know. Chelsea spoiled their party that time. Liverpool won the league back in COVID.
They're going to want to spoil your party, not City's party.
That's true. And hopefully that doesn't happen.
But I can see it, man. Mudrik's going to score.
He's going to score. He's going to post on the Instagram.
Really struggle to see that. But Lampard's got a result against Pep before.
Lampard's got a few results against Pep before, to be fair. But I mean, to be fair, Lampard, how's he? How's he got that job?
It's pure vibes, bro. It's pure vibes.
Yeah, it's literally pure vibes, man. Because he's, I don't want to say he's failed everywhere he's gone, but he's not succeeded necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at his first spell at Chelsea, and he done a decent job, and then the first 6 months at Everton, he did all right, and at Derby, hit par. Like, he's always just kind of doing what's expected of him. He's not doing anything that's like gonna pull you out of a hole. I know you guys say I like a bum him, but Ollie, they should have gone for Ollie as an interim. I'm telling you now,
Ollie, man.
They should have got him in as an interim, and he
got Ollie an interim.
It's like no one's gone for him, to be honest, because the amount of mid-table clubs that sack managers like Ollie, you'd think would be a good option, but
He would be.
Is that the side or something?
He's the only manager in Premier League history to come second and not get a job. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Either his PR's really bad, or he's just not got showing up to the interviews.
Nah, but
Just got
look,
his phone on
his
Do Not
track
Disturb.
record in English football outside of United just is terrible. He had the spell at Cardiff.
He had a spell at Cardiff that he took over when they were 19th and finished 19th. Like,
yeah, man. No one was moved. No one was moved. Cardiff.
yeah, it was Cardiff.
Yeah, and then
I will transfer you 20 quid right now if you can name me 5 players from that Cardiff team.
All right, it was Zaha.
Yeah.
Zaha's in that team. Yeah, I can't. In about 5 minutes, I probably could. Malcolm Mackay, manager, Vincent Tan.
Yeah, he got sacked for racist text, didn't he?
Yeah, but look, that United spell at Ollie. I mean, this isn't the Ollie show, but it was just vibes, man. As Paul Ince said, another club legend could have come in and done the same thing. Realistically,
No, that's bollocks, though. That's bollocks.
But what did he do? Right, like. At the end of the day, he got second of a team that got second before. Like, it's not.
Yeah, second before wasn't that team that got second though necessarily.
Yeah, but we've seen with that era though, man. Like, obviously,
Lost
West Ham.
Lukaku, didn't get another striker. You know, he had a lot of things against him. I mean, Bruno did save him a little bit when he came in, but I mean, he went. You knew in big games he was like. He was gonna show up with some sort of crazy tactic, like against City, where he just decided to play Dan James and Rashford up front, and it worked. Like, he just does things like that. Like, he knows how to set up a team, and he had an eye for talent as well, man. I'm telling you, Ahmad, if he doesn't succeed at United, he's going to be a big player somewhere else.
Yeah, I said it to you. I watched him against Hull 4-4, and yeah, he was good.
Play, man.
Yeah, whether he can play at United. Who knows? I think
he's got more about him. He's got more about him than Sancho does at the moment. So,
wow, you got Sancho had a good game on the weekend.
Yeah, he did, but like, he's
all right. His level.
He's just bare slow, man, and no intensity whatsoever. Like,
always turning back. Like,
yeah,
there's no intensity.
He's good in and around the box, but it's like when he has to take someone on, he'll do that thing, where he does like. He'll do a ball roll and then he'll just slip Shaw in and let Shaw do like taking people on.
Yeah, nah, he's that intensity is the word, man. The other guy, the other wing, Anthony. You can say what you want about him. At least he's intense.
Facts.
At least he strikes back. At least he, he runs with purpose. It's not always necessarily the smartest runs, but yeah, I mean that's it with Sancho intensity. But yeah, just on United. Obviously, close near to them is Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
They had a bit of a funny game. 2-1 against Brighton. I don't know how they won that game based off the highlights.
Disgraceful refereeing.
Shambolic refereeing.
Domination.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously, I'm guessing you're referring to the penalty decision.
Yeah, and the disallowed goal. But yeah, maybe penalty.
And I was going to say the disallowed goal as well. Like, for me... Just like it's not like he's used his arm to get an advantage. It's hit him here.
Yeah,
like it's hit him here. If it's hit him here, he's getting an advantage from it. It's hit him here. If he's half an inch to the right, it hits him on his chest. It's a lovely taken goal. It's a great finish. I don't understand what he's done wrong there.
Yeah,
but
no, I
absolute nerds living by the letter of the law. Their VAR. Fucking boffins, type of pricks who would tell the teacher there was homework, even though the teacher forgot.
I'm pretty sure, like, letter of the law, that part's like not even classed as like a handball because it's not a part of your arm you can move, and then it's like at least half the balls hit his chest as well. So it's like, I just think it's very harsh. I don't know why the linesman's calling that as well. Like, it's really not something he can see from his angle. I thought with like a lot of the other decisions, the linesmen don't really tend to call it. I just thought it was a bit strange that he did call that. Like, he's not really in a great position to see that at all, especially the orientation sort of Mitoma's at. It just shouldn't have been disallowed. And the penalty,
Yeah.
I don't know how. His literally foot got stamped on. I don't know how VAR is checking that and not giving it. Like I said, I'm not sure if they think that. I'm not sure what the communication between the referee and VAR is like, but I'm not sure if they're like thinking the referee saw that and just thought, oh yeah, maybe it's not enough. He's sort of dealing with this game. He decides how much contact's allowed. Oh yeah, we're just not going to overrule his decision. Or if they actually realise that he didn't see it because obviously the game is fast and the referee could not see it, and just sort of not given it because they've just assumed he's seen it when he hasn't. Which I just think this whole clear and obvious error thing. I don't get it. Like if you're going to do that, I think you've got to sort of reword some of the rules of the game because clear and obvious error with the sort of use of VAR, I feel like it's just only really being used well for like these sort of petty handballs and stuff. But with all the fouls and a lot of these decisions are incorrect, they're just trusting the referee and not overruling it. And then there's a load of penalties as well that aren't given, and then they won't overrule the ref either. So they've given a lot of power back to the ref, which I just think is a bit strange.
Did you see they came out and apologised again?
Yeah.
But do you know what pisses me off, right? So why fucking apologise? Because at the end of the day, that could cost Brighton a Europa League place. That could cost Brighton a Champions League place. That could cost Brighton, theoretically, 50, 60, 70 million. Players wanting to stay or wanting to go, wanting to join. That has such a detriment for Brighton, such a detriment for United, such a detriment for Newcastle, such a detriment for even, Liverpool. Apologies mean nothing. Just
to be fair, bro,
don't make the mistake in the first place.
Yeah, but we did call for ages for transparency from refs, and now I guess you're kind of getting it. I know it's a bit tokenism, but you're
getting transparency, but do your job in the first place, and then you don't need to be transparent. The transparency people wanted was get the referees mic'd up, understand what they're saying to each other, understand the conversations that go on between them and the fourth officials and the VAR and them and the players. That's the transparency we want. We want accountability as well as transparency. We don't want them to just say, oh, do you know what? I'm sorry. It's like me at my work. If I flipping transferred 10 grand into the wrong account and then went to the CEO or went to my boss and was like, oh, I'm sorry, they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's fine. No, they wouldn't. They would sack me.
It's true, yeah.
They get paid so much for a relatively simple job. Really, I know there's a lot of stakes, but a relatively simple job. They get their hand held by VAR and their hand held by their mates in VAR, and yet they still manage to fuck up. It doesn't make any sense.
There's 5 of them on each game as well.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think with transparency, I always thought it was just I think their whatever microphones or whatever they're speaking into, that should be sort of published somewhat, because at least if I can hear their thought process, I might understand them a lot more.
Yeah.
But they are very much in this position where if there was any scope for corruption, they can literally just say whatever they want. For example, the referee on the pitch might even get blamed for it because he doesn't know what's going on. The guy in the VAR room can realistically say whatever he wants. They start half the VAR checks before they announce it on the TV. I think it's bad. There's a lot of room for people to be dodgy in that. I can't remember. There was one of the decisions earlier in the season, which was just a disgraceful decision. I can't remember what it was, but the referee just made a huge mistake. I think it was an Arsenal game. What was the other apology we got for that? Wasn't
Brentford game?
Brentford
game. Yeah. It's the referee has literally chose to not draw the line because it's literally their job. That is why they're in the VAR room, to draw lines down. It's just not drawn. And that is literally, you have to actively do that for it to not happen.
But you know what the thing is as well? Why are we even in a position where they're drawing fucking lines? Why is the lines not automatic? There's so much technology. All they have to do is strap something to the player's vest, something very, very minuscule to track where they are in proportion to the pitch, and the line should be automatic. Why are they drawing? How can you draw a line from a still image? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, especially when with the camera, you don't get the perfect side-on view, so you're not the line.
Get your ruler out, bruv, and it's fucking crooked and that. Doesn't make any
sense. On the players' Wikipedia to see how tall they are.
It's been interesting with refs this week. Actually, obviously, I forgot to even mention it, but obviously in the Arsenal game, there was an incident with Robertson at half time. a couple of weeks ago, obviously Mitrovic did a similar sort of thing and
He's
got
an
and
idiot, man.
now he's got a match ban.
Yeah.
I don't know the ref's name who actually elbowed Robertson.
Some
But
Greek Donny. His name's like Tazikidis or something.
yeah, do you reckon he should get done for that?
Well, if he's actually assaulted him, then yes.
Yeah, it was quite minor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I think you don't raise your arm to someone like that. It's like,
Yeah.
and his elbow has made contact with Robertson's face. Like, I can confirm that much, and I think he should get, especially the way they try to make a huge example of Mitrovic. Like, keep your hands down. It's that simple. Blah blah blah. And the linesman hasn't done that. Like,
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
And I mean, also on Robertson's part as well, like there does need to be something done about refs and players going up to officials at halftime and full time.
I agree.
And I think this is part of the reason why they need to be mic'd up, because then at least we can understand their thought process. The players, the managers, everyone can go back and listen to it, whenever they want. They can understand the thought process. Even if we have an interview with the referee after the game and he comes out and says, this is why I did this is why I did that. Why are they so protected? It doesn't make any sense. It literally doesn't make any sense. They're refereeing in the most competitive sport in the world, in the most competitive league in the world, that's got the highest possible stakes. These guys have, like, for instance, we've seen how much football affects people. Someone like Claude from Arsenal Fan TV, that was all he had in his life. Imagine someone like that, right, has lived their whole life, or just for an example, to see Arsenal win the league, and they don't end up winning the league because a referee didn't draw a line, and that tips them over the edge. People will say it's sad, but it's true. Like, it doesn't make any sense why these guys have no accountability.
Yeah, no, they don't. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, the players and the managers, they have so much accountability. I mean, they're always getting scrutinized in media. Yeah, the refs, no, to be fair, deserve. It feels like it is only the fans, you don't really hear people you don't really hear pundits really good lay into refs, like name and shame refs. You never really hear it. You just hear general speaking, the VAR is not good, this, that. But yeah, no, I agree with the mic up thing. They have that in rugby, works very well. I don't get why they don't have it in football. The most wealthy sport in the world. It makes no sense.
It would also protect the referee, because if the referee in the Mitrovic incidents, for instance, could turn around and say, well, he's told me to piss off, he's told me to fuck off, whatever. It then helps them. If a player says something to them, that player then gets banned for abusing them. It's going to cut them getting abused out. Like, I don't know why they're trying so hard to protect someone, but in turn doing more damage by trying to protect them.
Yeah, no, I don't get it either. It's poor from the Premier League. I don't know. I don't know what other leagues are really like in terms. It'll be interesting to see the comparison in terms of how well they use their VARs. I feel like in the international tournaments, it's never that bad.
It's not
every that much talking point. But yeah, when it comes to the Prem, it's always a talking point. But yeah, let's kind of move on with the Premier League. Villa. I mean, us just kind of ran off like the top 10. Villa in 6th. I mean, that is crazy for me. Unai Emery, I have to hold humble pie on that one, because I did not see. I thought Gerrard. I thought Gerrard was the man for Villa. To be fair, I was saying trust in Gerrard, but Unai Emery's got Ollie Watkins looking like, I don't know, one of the best strikers in the league.
You can tell a difference from a proper coach and a pretender. But most people, obviously, I'm not saying I get it right 100% of the time. No one does. But I feel like, personally, I can tell when the vibe's not right with a manager. I can tell when a manager needs to go. I called Rodgers a year ago. That should have happened way sooner. I called Gerrard before it happened. All of these things. I stuck by Arteta when a lot of people didn't. I did.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
I did.
But yeah.
Yeah, for me, Emery was the perfect match for Aston Villa, because he loves going into a mid-table / upper mid-table team. Villa have a lot of tools who are very tactically, physically, and technically good. And it's just his type of team, and he's going to add even more players to that in the summer. I just think Ollie Watkins, if you get him scoring goals, he's such a valuable player because he's fast, he's tenacious, he gets himself in good positions. It was probably just before sometimes he was offside a bit too much. He's got that defence, which you expect of Emery. Very, very solid. He's got them in 2 blocks of 4 and a block of 2, defending very, very narrowly, but very, very compact. And then they've got the ability to hit teams on the counter. And I have to say as well, Emi Martinez has been fantastic since the Arsenal game, since that mistake in the Arsenal game. He's been really, really good.
He might be a world-class keeper, to be fair, at this point.
I think he is, to be honest. I'd take him at United over De Gea in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah, he's... he has the odd near post error, but like some of the saves he makes, and his distribution as well. I mean, I remember when we lost him at Arsenal, I was actually gutted, man. I thought he was better than Leno at the time when that was a very unpopular opinion.
Probably is better than Leno.
Yeah, well, Leno's a good keeper as well.
Leno's had a good season, but he's just a little. I don't know. He's just a bit short, so he's got small arms.
Yeah, exactly. Even though there are some keepers like that, you said De Gea 6'4", but you feel like he's the smallest 6'4" you've ever seen.
That guy's the smallest 6'4" guy I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lloris. I think Lloris is like 6'3", maybe, but he is again.
6'3"?
This is what I'm saying. Lloris and De Gea look like they're 5'9".
Yeah, De Gea. De Gea 6'4". He does not look.
He don't look 6'4".
Nah, he doesn't look it at all. But yeah, I think that kind of rounds up the Prem. Obviously, the relegation battle, nothing really changed there too much. Nottingham Forest back in the bottom 3 now. Leicester sacked Rodgers. Looks like they're getting in Dean Smith. I think that's a horrible appointment.
I agree.
Dean Smith had that one season at Villa where Grealish was just doing everything for him, but he's not showing me he's going to take the Leicester out.
By Norwich.
Yeah, and Southampton are looking like they're down. You know what's interesting though? Chelsea, 39 points, right? They're not going to go down. But if you look at their next games, it's actually hard to say when they're going to get a win. They got Brighton next at home. I mean, I don't see them winning that. I don't see them. They can lose that. Man United, Brentford, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, and Man City. Nottingham Forest at home, they have to win that.
Yeah. Mum's life though, Bournemouth do them. I'm not going to lie.
You reckon?
Bournemouth slap them up. I'm not going to lie.
Bournemouth love playing Chelsea as well. They
do. And Bournemouth have these random Donnies that will pop up. Like Philip Billing just keeps popping up with these goals.
Lanky.
Yeah, United are going to beat them at Old Trafford. I don't think that's like I don't trust United away. If it was at Stamford Bridge, I probably would expect United to draw or lose that. But I think they'll win that at Old Trafford with Casemiro back. I think Brighton again. That's a draw. I don't think they'll beat City. I think the game I expect them to win out of them games is Nottingham Forest at home, and that's really, really poor. And they've got Real Madrid in the Champions League, and obviously you never know with Chelsea in the Champions League, but you also never know with Real Madrid. If it was anyone other than Madrid, I'd fancy them, but it's Madrid, so
yeah, that's gonna be hard for them. Even though Chelsea got the Champions League juice, I wouldn't be surprised if they put up a fight in the game, but we'll get more into that game in a sec. But Chelsea, I said to you, Louie, I have the season for Chelsea down there with Derby 08 as one of the worst.
Pound for pound,
yeah.
I can't even believe they have as many points as they have. It feels like they never win. They've got more losses than wins.
That's so bad.
Goal difference. It's so bad. And Keelan, we will go through it. We've gone through your team enough. But yeah, the main problem with Chelsea is the signings they've made. You said it, Keelan. If you start the season, the signings they made in January, the average or even the decent knowledge football fan probably would know who they are. Wouldn't have known who Mudryk was. Fernandez, maybe. Andre Santos, no.
Madueke, no.
Madueke, no.
Madueke because of career mode, but nothing else.
Yeah, we knew who these guys were because we are avid football fans. But if I asked my dad who these players are, he probably would have known Enzo Fernandez because of the World Cup. But other than that, like, he don't know who Noni Madueke is. He doesn't know who Mudryk is.
Yeah, or
And they're on 7-year contracts as well.
No, 7 years. So, I mean, yeah, they've got 7 years to wait for them players to grow. For poor season for them.
I think because all of them as well, they've just signed bare players, which are all just like quite mids, and there's no like hierarchy, and they're just rotating bare. So like, I really struggle to see how they get out of it, because these are like young players. They're not going to get better playing like twice every 3 weeks or whatever.
No way.
It's mad how they actually like seem sort of like all right, sort of under Potter initially, but I feel like they've just got so much worse since January, where they've made all these signings, and they've got a lot worse because they're like bench, like guys like Sterling, probably some of their better players. He's being benched quite a lot. Jorginho probably would still be like an all right player for him, but he's just not in the mix anymore. And guys like Hall were probably sort of doing as good as guys like Mudryk are doing. At least like he sort of worked hard for the team, whereas
I agree.
They've just looked dreadful since January.
I agree, and I'm seeing like Chelsea fans on Twitter saying, "Oh yeah, bring back Ian Matson from his loan at Burnley, bring back Colwell from his loan to Brighton." That's just more players, bro. Like, it's just not happening. Like, the no football club can have that much of a no business, in fact, can have that much of a change of employees that quickly and expect results to happen. I mean, Bowley gave Potter no chance. He gave him absolutely no chance. It wouldn't surprise me, if someone went into the Chelsea dressing room and asked like Madueke, what's that guy over there's name about Mudryk? And he's like, I don't know his first name. It wouldn't surprise me if he didn't know his first name. I'm not even joking. Have you seen about Mudryk apparently having to get changed in the hallway because there's not enough room in the dressing room?
No way. £100 million man is having to get dressed in the hallway.
They've got like 34 registered players or something, and they've got all these guys out on loan who are probably better than the players they signed. What, like, it just doesn't make any sense. Bowley is playing Football Manager. I know Gary Neville said at the beginning of the year, and Chelsea fans laughed at him, but you know what? Yeah, people laugh at G-Nev a lot, but a lot of the stuff he ends up saying, like 8 months down the line when he talks craziness, ends up coming true.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was playing Football Manager for a man. Like,
he was.
It's just mad because they've signed even guys like Fofana this season. Like, remember how high Fofana's stock was back in 2020, 21 times?
Yeah.
Right, signed him 80 mil, bro. You forgot they signed him, bro.
He was one of the best centre-backs in Europe.
Yeah. So clearly as well, the environment is just a bit messed up there.
Cucurella as well for a reason.
Yeah, Cucurella, yeah. Pep Guardiola wanted Cucurella, yeah. So something's up there. There's a rotten egg at Chelsea, and it's been a rotten egg for I think since near the end of Conte days, early Sarri days. Something's been rotten there. I don't know what, but
Tuchel was the man, and apparently he got sacked because he wasn't replying to Bowley's text messages. This was the rumours on Twitter.
Really?
Apparently that's why he got sacked, because he wasn't replying to Bowley's text messages.
I don't know.
Really proper being at like every training session, just like stood behind Tuchel, like just saying the complete opposite to what Tuchel's saying. Like Tuchel's saying, like, stay back. He's like, go up, attack. Like,
go on, guys.
Yeah, it's a dog fight out there.
Do you know what I find hilarious as well? So they've apparently signed Nkunku, but now they actually want to make Felix permanent as well. You're signing two guys for the same position. They both thrive off being a second striker. Both of them are going to want to play. Neither of them are wingers. What is going on, bro?
With Havertz as well.
Yeah, with Havertz as well. You're going to have 3 strikers who don't want to be strikers.
It's painful. Yeah, it's going to be painful for them this season. But, looking at their game on Wednesday at the Bernabeu, last season, I mentioned it before, great show in the Bernabeu, 3-2 win, but going out on goals in total. You guys reckon, obviously, Keelan, you're wearing the shirt. There's no stopping Vinicius Junior, Benzema, Valverde, Camavinga on Wednesday.
I don't think there is a chance.
Can you give a score prediction for that one?
Score prediction. I'll go for like a 4-1. Real Madrid don't mess around, and I just think Chelsea are very vulnerable at the moment.
Yeah, it's a reasonable prediction. I'll go with a 3-0 Real Madrid. Real Madrid, I think, will batter them first half, not score. Chelsea don't concede that much, you know. That's one thing that is funny about Chelsea. They've only conceded 2 more goals than Arsenal, I think, which is very strange. But they don't score, and the pressure will creak. Real Madrid aren't, like, honestly, as much as they win Champions Leagues year and year, they're not this invincible team. They
They're
can
not.
be beaten. Chelsea can, if they step up to, if they play how they played against Dortmund, they have a chance. I just don't know if they will with the whole manager change. 3-0 Real Madrid. Yeah, Louie, what are you going for that game?
Do you know what's funny, actually? It's weird saying this, and Chelsea fans will disagree, and I understand why, if you look at it black and white, why you disagree. But I think if you go into this game with Graham Potter, I genuinely think they can get something out of this tie. Either take it to penalties, take it to extra time, or win it. I genuinely think that. And it's not because I think Graham Potter did a good job at Chelsea, but I just think there'd be something there. I feel like now with Lampard, it's just so much change very, very quickly. He's not a coach who's pragmatic. He plays the same 4-3-3 every week, and it's a very attacking style of 4-3-3. And I just think he's not. It's not that he's not a smart guy, but he's just not a very smart manager. And I expect Madrid to get the early goal, manage the game really well. Chelsea will have a couple of spells where they look like they score, but ultimately, I think Madrid come out 2-0.
Yeah, and first goal scorer, I'll push everyone for first goal scorer. I'll go with Rudiger to get a goal against his whole club.
I was going to say that as well. I'm not going to lie. I was going to say Rudiger.
Yeah.
I'll go. I think Benzema's a hot guy at the moment.
yeah. Scored a hat trick against Barcelona in the last game.
Almost 4. Well, not really, but
but yeah, Real Madrid did lose against Villarreal, but Villarreal are a decent team.
Did you see the goal they lost to though from Chukwueze?
Yeah, what a goal! What a performance! Actually, both goals he scored.
Yeah.
Other game that day, Napoli against Milan. I think this is a sick game on paper, especially with what happened in their last game. 4-0 Milan, one of the shocks of the season. Right, prediction for that game at Milan, and Keelan, we spoke about it on the pod we did. These same games. I've got the shirt. We know who Louie supporting that day. Doing it for Maradona. Right, he's even got to show the preview. Right, these what's the phrase for it? Two teams from the same league. Domestic European tie, yeah. Or with Tottenham and Man City. We've seen it with Liverpool and Chelsea back in the day. So as much as I said the other week, I think Napoli are gonna, really move to Milan. I actually think this game, I think Milan will nick this one, 2-1 first leg. 2-1 first leg. I'm not sure what injuries are saying. I know Osimhen didn't play in that last game. I don't know if he's back for this game. But I just feel like Milan, with the heritage of Champions League, just like they did against Tottenham, they're going to step up 2-1. And I'll go for it has to be a Giroud first goal.
Yeah.
I think I'd go. I think I feel like in the Champions League you rarely see teams sort of win both legs. I do feel like often teams do hold themselves sort of well at home. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw between the two. I think Milan will go up and then perhaps maybe sit back a bit more, sort of just hoping to get through to the second leg. And I just think, I think Napoli will eventually show their class, equalise, and then know they're going back to their place.
Yeah, fair prediction. Louie, what are you saying, man?
Yeah.
I'm torn, I'm really torn, and I'll tell you the reasons why, right? Because obviously, last week, Milan beat Napoli 4-0. And people don't realise, but Osimhen, he contributes massively to the fact that they don't score goals because it's an easy out ball. You knock it into the channel, he runs onto it, and he gets onto the ball. With Raspadori, it doesn't happen. He's a more ball-to-feet player, good player, but ball-to-feet player. And, we've seen it a couple of times where it's these domestic ties and teams play a couple of weeks prior, for example, Chelsea and Man City. Chelsea won the game, and then that psychologically means now it's on to the City manager, or in this case, the Napoli manager, to make the change because they couldn't beat them last time. So it gives them more pressure. But I do feel like there's something special cooking at Napoli this year. The league title's basically done. Although never say never, but you would expect that to get done. It's very nearly done. And I just feel like there's something in the air. The Champions League always gives us these stories, and Napoli getting to the final would be a hell of a story. And I think in this game, who's at home first? Is it at the
It's at San Siro
It's
first.
at the San Siro.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go with 1-1 in that game. And then Osimhen comes back for the second leg at the Stadio Armando Diego Maradona, and it goes 2-0 Napoli at the San Paolo. Yeah, I think Napoli win. I do think Milan are going to be the better team at the San Siro, and I just think Napoli will have just enough to get the draw there, and I expect Rafael Leao to score in that game. But I just think there's something cooking at Napoli, and I've got to back my boys, man.
I hear that. Something I just thought about though, another factor is obviously Napoli got the league wrapped up, and I've seen this with teams before so many times in Champions League when they have the league wrapped up, they just fold in Europe. We saw it with Man City that year against Liverpool, where they pretty much had the league wrapped up, folded. Liverpool that year they won the league. Obviously they had it wrapped up by like January, and Atletico Madrid came. No way should that Atletico Madrid team have beaten Liverpool, but they did. Think about all the previous winners of the Champions League. Only really Bayern Munich, you could say, who have been like clear in the league. Even them, actually, when they won the
Real
Champions
Madrid
League
last year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But most years Real Madrid won the league. Obviously, we know that they won't win the league and Barcelona. So that's a factor, I think, for sure. And obviously, Osimhen not being there is huge. It's a massive factor. But cool, you lot going for draws. I'm going for a win for Milan. And obviously tomorrow's games, the big one. Actually, we'll save the big one. We'll get onto. We'll do another big game of a Benfica versus Inter. Probably, I don't know. Benfica in great form, Inter in poor form. Drew 1-1 against. I forgot how to pronounce their name.
Salernitana.
Yeah, them. Kandreva scoring that game, but yeah, I think it's at Benfica Stadium first. I don't see how Inter are going to keep Benfica out, especially how they've been playing in Europe this season. It's got to be a 3-1 Benfica win first leg. Obvious choice, Gonzalo Ramos has to be the first goal scorer, let's say.
Mm-hmm. I'd go for, I think, a 3-0 Benfica. Think going back to sort of last year as well, I think they just seem to be playing that quite exciting football at the moment. Just had good results consistently in the Champions League this year. And like you said, I think Inter very out of form. Benfica very much in their flow. I think they will comfortably take the game. 3-0 and then Gonzalo Ramos as the first scorer.
Very fair, very fair. Louie, another one of the Italian teams. I said that 3 Italian teams in quarterfinals. It's great to see.
It is.
For the heritage that Italian football have in this game. How do you reckon this first leg's going to go at Benfica?
Inter rubbish. They really stink. They're 5th in the league. They haven't well, they've won one of their last 5 games, but that includes 3 losses. So 3 losses, 1 draw, 1 win in their last 5 games. Really, really, really bang average. So in fact, they're worse than bang average. They're crap. If they were in the Premier League, they'd be about 10th or 11th.
Yeah, you said give me
behind
over.
Brentford.
Yeah, they'd be behind Brentford. They'd be behind Brighton.
Yeah.
They'd probably be behind Aston Villa and these man. And they've got Nico Barella is a good player. Brozovic when he actually plays is a good player. Obviously Bastoni's a good player, but they've just got so much dog's fodder. It's just awful. Like Lukaku's overweight. Lautaro Martinez is an excellent player, but he's just crazily inconsistent in Europe. Like he'll score like one screamer and then he won't score for ages, and his finishing's erratic. I mean, they have good players. Andre Onana's a great modern goalkeeper, but they're fifth in Serie A. They're behind Roma. They're behind Napoli. They're behind Lazio as well. And AC Milan they're behind as well. Yeah, they're just poor. I would have actually really liked to have seen a Milan derby and Napoli Benfica because then I think it would have been an all-Italian semi-final. I think Napoli could have done the job against Benfica, and then it would probably be Milan Napoli in the semi-final. But it's not. And I think Benfica, I think at home they win the game 2-1, and then they win 1-0 at the San Siro as well.
Yeah, that's fair. We're all going for Benfica wins on that one then. I think it's the obvious choice. We've chosen the favourites all so far.
I must add, though, Inter do have a result in them, even though they're rubbish. As we've seen against Barcelona. They have a result in them. So, I mean, I've been saying how bad they are, but I wouldn't be shocked if they do actually win the tie as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, this is the one where there's no out-and-out favourite. There might be a slight favourite, but I think with non-English bias, we would say there's no favourite. Man City versus Bayern Munich. Pep against his old club. Haaland returns against Bayern Munich, the team he used to torment. Wow, what a game. I think we've been wanting this fixture for a few years, actually, since Pep's been at Man City. We haven't had it. With the 4 Man City are in, it's hard to look past them. But Bayern in the Champions League, fear no one. I don't know, you know. I'm saying it's going to be a 3-2 Man City win. But Man City is going to be like last season against Real Madrid, where they should be winning by more, and they might kick themselves that they don't have a bigger lead going to the next game. Cancelo against his old club. But yeah, first goal scorer for that game, I'll go with... I think Bayern will take the lead, actually. If Choupo-Moting starts, I'll back him to score the first goal. Yeah, that's my prediction. Keelan, what are you saying?
I think it'll be a proper chess match of a game. I sadly think it won't be a great game to watch. And I just think, the way Bayern dealt with PSG so well, I just think they're going to go in with a similar sort of setup for City. Obviously, Bayern have Tuchel as manager as well. He's kind of got, he has Pep's number a bit. I think it'll be a 0-0. I think Bayern, they're sort of psyched up for games like this. I think they'll just be able to keep City at bay. I think they're the sort of type of club that will sort of see the issue in Haaland and they will sort of manage him appropriately, given sort of what they do. And I think, like when they've got players like sort of Choupo-Moting up front, I think it does help them have a really good defensive unit, like it is quite common in their setup. And I'll go for a 0-0 in that game.
Reasonable prediction. Yeah. Louie?
It's weird because Tuchel's first game against Dortmund, they were fantastic, but then they went and lost to Freiburg in the DFB Pokal, which the fans weren't happy about. So, I mean, I don't really necessarily rate Bayern that well, but in these UCL games, they're okay. They don't have a killer, like someone who's gonna definitely score a goal. Whereas City have someone who's pretty much inevitable. I
Yeah.
do think City win the game. I think they win 2-1. And I think the first goal scorer is going to be Silky Ilkay Gundogan, who Dodzi, is a player I absolutely love. I never used to appreciate him as much, but now I find myself watching his little movements and his little third man runs, and I just think he's so intelligent, always finds himself in these positions, and he always pops up in these big games with a goal, and I think he will score in this game. Obviously knows the opposition very, very well. So yeah, I think he'll score. I think Haaland will score the winner, but I think there will be 1-1, and I think Bayern's goal will come from Joshua Kimmich.
Yeah.
I could just see him scoring like a banger.
20 Ranger, yeah, 20 yarder. I see that as well. Yeah, I mean, we're all stuck for choice in that game because that is a tough game to call because mainly of Bayern's heritage, but and the City's great form. And then you got to start taking into account City's kind of choker mentality they unfortunately have at the moment in the Champions League against these big teams. Every team that they've played, I think, in the Champions League that's been bigger in terms of size than them, has done them, weirdly enough, apart from maybe PSG. But if you think about Real Madrid, they've done Real Madrid. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting game. For good measure, we'll do United against Sevilla as well. Thursday, 8:00, not Channel 5, it's on BT Sport. Man United against Sevilla, comfortable win for United, man. Sevilla are terrible. Like they've picked up this year, I think, but obviously I watched them in the preseason game where Arsenal washed them, and it's just continued for them this season. They stunk at one point they were like relegation zone, and City washed them in their group. United win that one, comfortable 3-1 victory, despite the demons United have over Sevilla with them knocking them out of
most Spanish clubs, to be honest.
Yeah, I think United win. And first goal scorer, Rashford.
He's injured, mate.
He's injured?
Yeah, he's injured.
Oh, okay.
I was crying about it.
Oh, right. That's actually an issue, I can't lie. If he's injured, I'm gonna go 1-0.
1-0. Yeah, I think United's they're on very good form at just ripping apart Spanish teams at the moment. So yeah, I think 2-0 United because they probably won't rotate much. I think Ten Hag's happy to just keep the same sort of squad more or less. I think they'll get a nice 2-0 and goal scorer. I'll go with McTominay.
Yeah, that.
Game of the Everton.
Yeah, I don't think McTominay will play this game, but if he does, I could see him scoring. I agree. What I do think is I think United will win 2-0. I think Antony will be the first goal scorer. And I think there's going to be a tactical yellow card from either Casemiro or Bruno Fernandes because they're both 1 yellow away. If they get yellow, they miss the second leg. So I expect United to go 2-0 up and then Casemiro to get himself booked. And then for the second leg, I think it will more likely to be Casemiro than Bruno Fernandes.
It'll be both.
Do you know, if United go 3 up, I wouldn't be surprised if both get booked. Especially with Christian Eriksen now being back as well, because it wouldn't mean Bruno Fernandes is as much as a loss in the second leg. Although I have a feeling Ten Hag's going to do something crazy and he's going to play Bruno in that 6 again, and then he's going to play Eriksen as a 10 or Sabitzer as a 10. Because Bruno in that deep line playmaker role against Everton and against Brentford was really, really good. He has 2 games back-to-back where he's got over 90% pass accuracy, which I never thought I'd see with Bruno Fernandes. He's creating so many chances. But yeah, this game screams to me of like a game where Antony will score one of his
it does. It does, yeah. He's scored a few bangers this season, man. The one against this most recent one was at Betis, yeah.
Betis, yeah.
Great goal.
The one against Barca was great technique as well, man. It's hard to do. Wrap your foot around it.
Yeah. That's interesting about the tactical fouls you're talking about because you'd think Casemiro, like, he's gonna miss the next Prem game, right? So he doesn't really need to. I know you've got the big busy fixture that's coming up, but he doesn't need to save himself. I guess Bruno plays a lot. He plays the most games out of any footballer in Europe. So
Yeah, well, the thing is with Casemiro is if he doesn't get the booking now, then you kind of want him to get it in the next leg, but then that means he's going to be out for the semi-final. So you kind of want you to go up 2 or 3-0 and then him to get booked, miss the second leg, and then be back for the semi-final. Rather than him like not getting booked and then you rest him for the second leg and then he comes in the semi-final and he gets booked and misses the semi-final, the second leg of the semi-final. So you kind of want him ideally to get booked, which is weird. I trust Bruno. I mean, the position he plays, I don't like. You never know with him, but I trust him not to get booked. Whereas with Casemiro, I don't know whether I'd trust him to not get booked. Not partly because of him, but partly because of the way United play as well. They kind of leave him 1v2 a lot of the time. So a lot of the time his hands are tied and he kind of has to get booked. So yeah, I think 2 or 3-0 United. I expect him to go with De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, Malacia.
Sabitzer.
Bruno, Casemiro, Sabitzer, Martial, Anthony. Bruno's going to be on the wing, isn't he? Fuck's sake.
Nah, what about
Is Garnacho injured? So
Yeah, Garnacho's injured.
Oh wow.
I mean, if we're being honest, I'd just play Elanga, to be honest, on the left wing because what damage does it do in comparison to putting Bruno there when he's been playing really well centrally? It's either that or you have to shift the whole team around. Oh no, Sancho will go left. What am I talking about? Yeah, Sancho on the left. Yeah, bro, I'm talking about Elanga when Sancho. This is what I mean about Sancho, bro. He's not
a bad shout. No.
Do you know what? I appreciate Alanga's attributes. I don't think he's like a great footballer, but I do think if he went on loan to a team who knew how to use him, he could come on leaps and bounds. Because physically, for his age, he's very, very good.
Yeah, did it against Atletico last year as well. So
yeah, scored some big goals last year, man.
Yeah, he might have a thing for the Spanish teams. But yeah, that's a lot covered in that episode. I must say, we covered the Prem, covered the Champions League, Europa League a bit as well. Keelan, Louie, thank you for joining this podcast again.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, if you've made it to the end of this episode, please give us a like, a subscribe, and a comment as well. We're going to be back next week, rounding up the games again. We've got a special one. We'll get a special one in for you again soon. But for now, we're just doing the roundups of the games. Yeah, anything you guys want to touch on, or are we good to go?
We're good to go. I was going to touch on just West Ham in the they might end up being the first team to win a European trophy and get relegated in one season.
Oh yeah, they've got Ghent.
Yeah,
the Conference League.
They've not got too much competition really in the tournament either. I
think it's Nice,
Fiorentina, Basel, Lech Poznan, and Anderlecht. Is it Alkmaar?
That is a poor competition.
Jokes are there in Europa League in the Championship.
Well, Southampton did it, didn't they? And they no, not Southampton, Birmingham, sorry. And they were in the Championship and the Europa League, and they finished third in their group with 12 points.
Crazy.
You know how unlucky that is.
Did Birmingham get through qualification then?
I think they qualified automatically because Birmingham won the League Cup, didn't they?
League Cup, yeah.
Yeah, so they got put in there automatically. And then this is what they had: Damari Gray, Nathan Redmond. Damari Gray was 16 playing in Europa League. I'm just gonna fact check this. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I do remember that though. I remember seeing Nathan Redmond. Louie, they got 9 points.
9 points. Okay.
10 points. 10 points.
10 points.
Beat Bruges. Yeah.
Let me have a look. Hold on. I'm pretty sure someone in their squad. Let me have a look. Hold on.
They had Townsend. Oh, he joined in January.
They had. Who did they have? They had Cameron Jerome. I knew
Yeah.
that. Andros Townsend,
Yeah.
Jordan Much,
Jack Butland.
Nikola Zigic,
They had guys that kind of went on to have decent careers.
Chris
Yeah.
Wood.
Chris Wood. Wow.
Who else? I'm fairly certain. Oh yeah, they had Liam Ridgewell, Pablo Ibanez. I thought they had Graham Potter.
Nah, it's the Ostersons.
No, hang on.
What, as a player?
Yeah.
Did that
Nah,
guy kick ball?
surely not. Graham Potter played in like the 90s.
He's only 47 years old, bro. That was in 2011. That's 12 years ago.
Nah, he wasn't. He was at the Birmingham start of his career, and then.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, he was there in 1992. My bad. Yeah, okay.
That's a mad one, though. And obviously, were Wigan in the Europa League as well when they're in the Championship? I think they were.
I think they were as well.
Yeah, they were because they won the FA Cup.
Yeah, I know Hull didn't qualify.
Yeah, and one season Swansea were in the Europa League. I remember they battered Valencia like 3-0 Mestalla.
Yeah.
So it's been Europa League really used to be like it's actually come a long way. Like it's still obviously not the best competition, but Conference League, yeah, that would be interesting. If West Ham win the conference and
end up in Europa League.
Yeah, I don't know.
Championship.
Just at a glance, I'm looking at all them teams in the Conference League now. Ghent, Basel, Nice, Lech Poznan, Fiorentina. They just all scream the same level, so it's going to be a bit of a
yeah, they do. Well, Anderlecht, they finished above Anderlecht in the group, didn't they, West Ham? So.
Oh yeah, true. But, yeah.
Yeah, they do perform well in Europe as well. Like they were, and they done putting an honourable effort last year in the actual Europa League. So that's definitely, definitely something that's possible. Which,
Rice will have a European trophy this season as a captain.
That'll be a great legacy, though.
That actually will be a great legacy. He would have surpassed Mark Noble's 25-year career.
In 1 year. Crazy, man. Oh, man. But we'll wrap that one up there. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining again. Thank you for watching, listening to the podcast. We'll be back for more soon, and keep engaging on our socials. Take care. Peace out. Nice one.
Safe.